Hello, students. Nice to have you back for another week of science with a brand new topic this week. And I just want to give a friendly reminder to everyone that there are opportunities for bonus points. Please take advantage of them, starting with the ones I introduce you to here at the beginning of each week, our weekly challenge and our scientist of the week, which, as you know, always ties into our topic for the week. So let's begin with the weekly challenge. Listen carefully. Don't say it out loud if you think you know the answer. Hold on to it till Friday. So here is this week's weekly challenge. A barrel of water weighs 20 kilograms. What must you add to it to make it weigh 10 kilograms? Think about that for Friday. And now our scientist of the week. Our scientist of the week this week is James Watt. I said James Watt. What was that? I said James Watt. James Watt is his name. And James Watt was a Scottish inventor, very famous during the 19th century, late 18th, early 19th century. And he is most remembered for his improvements on the steam engine. In fact, his work was fundamental to the Industrial Revolution. James Watt, very important dude in the Industrial Revolution. So important was he that we have named a unit of power after him called the watt. What was that? Yes, I said the watt. The watt is named after James Watt. So remember the scientist of the week and his claim to fame for Friday. Now, before I go and have you get started with this week's topic, last week's weekly challenge, I just wanted to talk a little bit about because it was particularly interesting, intriguing, and difficult for many. So let me just go back for a moment, if I may, and let's discuss briefly last week's weekly challenge so that you can see what the answer actually is. If you recall, and many of you I'm sure do, may remember that the question of last week's challenge was, what weighs more, a pound of feathers or a pound of gold? And some of you thought it was a trick question, and you know what? You're absolutely right. It is kind of a trick question. But most people would say, well, a pound of one thing is equal to a pound of something else, and so they both weigh the same. The vast majority of you answered that way, that a pound of gold weighs as much as a pound of feathers. And yet some of you thought that, well, a pound of gold weighs more because gold is more dense than feathers. So yeah, a pound of gold weighs more. Well, neither of those are the correct answer. And here's where the trick comes in. And this is another reason why I love the metric system so much more than the customary units you are used to using. Because in the metric system, there are no trick questions like this one. Because here's the deal. Gold is a precious metal. And as a result, it is not measured with the normal customary units, technically called the avoirdupois system. Yeah, that's right. Gold, silver, platinum, and jewels are not measured with the customary system. They're measured in the troy measurement system when it comes to ounces and pounds in the customary units. In the metric system, you don't have that kind of confusion, but in the customary units, it's weird. So here's the deal. Gold is weighed in the Troy measurement system. Ordinary things like feathers are measured in the ordinary units called the avoirdupois, ounces. So here's the deal. If you really wanted to get an accurate comparison, you'd have to compare the two different kinds of units. So the avoirdupois ounce converts to 28.34 grams. You don't have to know that, but just remember 28.34 grams, approximately. The Troy ounce is 31.1 grams. So right off the bat, there's a difference. And you might say, well, okay, so gold weighs more. So a pound of gold weighs more than a pound of feathers. Unfortunately, there's another piece of the puzzle there. Because not only are the ounces different in these systems, so is the measurement of a pound. Specifically, the avoirdupois system that you are really actually most familiar with has 16 ounces to a pound. However, the Troy system, believe it or not, it's not the same, only has 12 ounces to a pound. So, and I'm reading this off of a paper because there's no way I could remember all of this nonsense, really. So, therefore, a pound of feathers actually weighs 453.59 grams, and a pound of gold weighs 373.24 grams. So a pound of feathers actually weighs more than a pound of gold. Why? Because pounds and ounces aren't all the same either, depending upon what you're measuring. However, if the question had asked you, what weighs more, 1 Newton of gold or 1 Newton of feathers? Guess what? In the metric system, there are no tricks, and the answer would be neither. They both weigh a Newton. And that would be the end of the story. But I hope you have enjoyed this little bit of trivia. Now you can go home and trick your folks and those at home with this little bit of trivia regarding a pound of feathers and a pound of gold. But for now, I'd like to ask you to go back on to Google Classroom, our one-stop shopping for science information, and follow the instructions found there. So for now, oh, and by the way, our topic of the week this week is work and power. Work and power. So until next time, I will say bye-bye.